There's a famous story about the Buddha and a woman coming to him, and she was bereft. She had lost a loved one. And the Buddha said to her, "Go to the village and bring me back a grain of sand from every home that has not lost a loved one. And I'll bring your loved one back." And so she went out into the world looking for a person, place, or situation where they had never experienced loss. And when she came back to the Buddha, she couldn't give him any grains of sand. Every day there is loss. Every day there is news about some catastrophe, some negativity, something awful happening in our world. Have you noticed? What most people talk and think about, what's going viral, is what we call consensus reality. I want to give you this concept. Consensus reality. But it is not the truth. It's definitely a force to contend with, but it's not what is enduring. It's not what is the real truth. We are learning to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear a far greater vision than what is currently happening in our outer world. Jesus called us to rise in consciousness when he was about to leave. He said something akin to what a Zen master said to his students. "If I don't go, then I'll forever be just a finger pointing at the moon, and you won't see the moon." Jesus asked us to be in this world, but not of it, by developing the spiritual eyes to see and hear the divine everywhere and in all things. Everything has a purpose and a place of usefulness in this world. We don't put our compost in our living room, because that would really stink, right? And it would be a mess. But when we put it in our garden, things grow. In the 13th chapter of John, right before he died, Jesus said, "Friends, I'm with you only a little longer, and you're going to look for me because I'm going, and where I go, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment. Love one another just like I have loved you. That's what I want you to do. And by this love, everyone will know that you're my disciples, if you have this love for one another." And then he went on to say many really beautiful things. You ought to read this. The 13th, the 14th, and the 15th chapter of John, which is called Jesus' last talk, his last discourse. He said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I've loved you. For no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." You are my friends. I don't call you anything else because I've told you everything I know. And I chose you to bear fruit. And I'm giving you all this information, he says, all these teachings. Why? So that my joy, he says, might be in you, and your joy may be complete. And then he goes on to pray for everyone to God. We as individuals and as a country are involved in a very intensive learning process right now. Every day is a new opportunity for a new lesson, a clearer vision of truth, a strengthening of resolve. We are actively learning to discern the difference between what is a lie and what is a truth. We are learning to discern the difference between what is beneficial to us as individuals, to us as a country, and to our world. And then the difference between that and what's merely fanciful or a popular thought or completely deranged and not beneficial or true. How do we do this? We do it by inner discipline, by inner guidance, by developing a finely tuned and honed BS scanner. Just like those kids in Parkland, so we can call BS when we feel it in our gut, when we know it in our heart. We can say no to what is unconsciously sometimes and sometimes deliberately put on our television screens, manipulated. So easy to manipulate video now and put something in someone's mouth they never said. So it's our job now to change the channel, to delete what comes to our inbox that we know is not beneficial or true. We can let go of it. We don't have to pay any attention to it at all or give it any power to depress or deplete our energy. The world needs that. It needs each of us to let go of everything we know is not true. Everything that's just a bad thought, a stupid superstition, or an intentional lie. We need the courage to let go of opinions, our own and everyone else's, from consensus reality that we have been programmed to think, that does no good and that never has. We have to make a discipline to not repeat that which we do not want for ourselves as human beings or for this country. We have got to stand up for what we believe in, for what we want to give life to, what we want to strengthen, what we want to manifest as truth for the people of Earth. We're each like a little individual unit of God in this giant hologram of life. Each of us manifesting the wholeness of life through our unique gifts and that spark of divinity that produces the hologram itself. It's not honorable, Christian, or even human to just stand around and do nothing when a ship is going down. We are only going to survive if we reach out to each other and try to do what we can to save the children and the women first. I love Kobe Bryant. I know some of you will find this to be funny, but I am a basketball fan. I was a cheerleader. And Kathy, you might remember this. I was a Calvin Murphy fan. As a child, I had a Calvin Murphy scrapbook. He was this star basketball player at Niagara University that was only 5'11" and is now part of the Harlem Globetrotters. And even though it was politically incorrect to be a cheerleader, even in college I was a cheerleader. Because I love making people cheer. I love the feeling of people happy together. And I used to tell my friends in high school that it doesn't matter, I'm just preparing. I'm God's cheerleader in the world. Isn't that funny? Because I never thought I would be a minister, but I thought I'd be a cheerleader for kids, a child psychologist. That's what I really felt was my calling. It still may be. But as a basketball fan, how could I not love Kobe Bryant? Watching this young person become this legacy. And I'm so grateful to him for loving girls, for taking up the mantle to create something positive for youth. In his own words about his decision to coach his daughter's team and found an organization after he retired, "My mission is to make sure women have opportunities to excel. I have 4 girls, and I want to be the best dad I can be for them. That's my complete focus now, on my wife, our children, and our family. Not just my personal family, but the family of the next generation." On the day that he died, Kobe went to his church with his daughter Gigi, who also died. He practiced meditation every morning. You might not know that. If you want, you can YouTube Kobe Bryant on meditation, and you can learn how Phil Jackson taught the Lakers to meditate as part of their training, and how essential it is to poise on the basketball court and in life. In the Last Testament, Jesus said love would be the measure of our discipleship. And then in 1 Corinthians 13, Paul describes that love as patient, kind, not boastful or self-serving. And he said that everything else would come to an end. Everything else. Spiritual gifts, talking in tongues, prophesying, everything else would come to an end, but love doesn't die. I thought it was poignant. The first message that Vanessa Bryant published to the world was this: "Our love for Kobe and Gigi is endless, eternal, and immeasurable. Their light is shining on us now to light our way." We need each other. Our hearts and prayers are with all of those families who lost their loved one in that helicopter crash. All of those beautiful young people and parents, all 9 of them, and everyone that was touched by them. And our thoughts and prayers can make a difference, can give hope, can help people to move on. And our prayers are with everyone who's lost a loved one. Everyone, every one of us knows how important it is to feel the love of other people when we're suffering. If we have love in our hearts, people will feel that love when we pray for them, and it will lift them up, even people you do not know. The legend of Kobe Bryant is not who Kobe Bryant really is. Only Kobe and God know that. Our story about who we are is not the truth of who we really are. It's just symbols, metaphors, costumes, and memories that may or may not be accurate at all. Our own perception of our own self may be completely distorted. Our own memories false. That we know for certain. That is a scientific fact. Any police officer at an accident site understands this. What we see is not what really happened. And seeing is multidimensional and multifaceted. The who of you, this named person and personality, and everything you accomplish in this life is temporary. But the what of you, now that's eternal. What are you? You are a living soul, and the Spirit of God, all goodness, lives in you. You are Christ in the making, a spark of the magnificence of this creation. You're unique, and your divine fingerprint of God is waiting to make a mark on the living. Myrtle Fillmore in 1888 had an epiphany. She was one of the co-founders of Unity, and she was told that she would die of tuberculosis in less than a year. And she had an epiphany. She said, I'm a child of God. I don't inherit sickness. I'm a child of God, made in the image and likeness of God, with all the divine attributes and intelligences of intelligence itself. Myrtle wrote this in 1888. Life has to be guided by intelligence in making all forms. Life is simply a form of energy. It has to be guided and directed in our body by intelligence. She explained that by directing our thoughts and by speaking words of truth, we can teach and transform our bodies and improve our health. There's a divine body image, a blueprint of wholeness, and we can embody it. It takes discipline, it takes courage, it takes practice. We know today, through scientific evidence, that every thought and feeling has a biochemical reaction, and we can produce changes in the structure of our own brains every day. And we change our body with every breath, every thought, every feeling, every nutrient, one conscious, energetic experience at a time. I think Rumi said something akin to, we make these bodies like the bees make honey. I remember hearing Dr. Bernie Siegel 40 years ago tell a story about meeting a patient he'd given a terminal diagnosis to. He told that man he only had 6 months to live, and he never saw him again as a patient. But he did run into him decades later on a vacation. And he asked him, how did you do it? And the man said, well, Doc, when you told me that I was going to die, I decided to do all the things that were important to me, and I started to enjoy my life, my family. I traveled. I savored all the good times. And you know, I've been so happy ever since, I guess I just decided not to go. If you can grasp this, see through your own self-made story about life and health, then you can tap into your power to heal your life and begin to discover how wonderful you are and life is. When you look beneath the surface of things, you see that you and you and you and everyone is light, spirit, energy, and motion. And we are not here to suffer over the daily collective American drama, our own personal drama, or anyone else's. If we've learned anything at all this week by these sudden deaths of these beautiful families, it's that life on earth is precious and terminal. And sometimes it ends too soon without any warning. It's fragile. Yet there's something, we call it love, it's just a word, that doesn't die. That's, in Kobe's wife's words, that's endless, eternal, and imperishable. Love, in fact, I believe, because I have experienced it myself, can grow and grow and grow as the soul grows. For even unto death we do not part. I had a crazy uncle that was this like hidden gem. He just didn't look at all like you would think someone that was a holy person would look. You know, he drank and smoked and played golf and did a lot of his philanthropy in secret. And when he died, he came to me in a dream as this like man in white, like an angel standing on a mountain. And I'm like, Uncle Frank, is that you? You don't look like yourself. And he's like, prayer even works on me. I feel the love. He had one of the biggest funerals. There were so many people that came out of the woodwork to talk about how he fixed their porch or gave their kids money or did something that needed to be done. Nobody ever knew or suspected it. And it was just the love I feel he was trying to communicate to me that was still growing in him, because the soul grows forever. Your life energy, how you use it, what you do with it, is the you in unity, these universal truths. Unity has a story, and we're looking at it on Wednesday nights. You can join us. But the more important story is how we're looking at it in light of our own life, how we're practicing these universal principles. Because unless we do the work of discernment, unless we put the pedal to the metal of our own health, then nothing happens. And this walkie-talkie, this vehicle we have for God, that we call by our name for just a little time while we're here on earth. This is definitely the time, 2020, to get clear about our voice, talent, unique perspective. I say we have to learn how to think more like dolphins than lawyers, you know, to go beneath the surface of things and have a kind of sonar point of view. And have fixed principles, but not necessarily fixed opinions. And before any decision, ask the question, is my choice going to help me sleep better at night? Nothing is more beautiful and amazing than utter loyalty to your own truth. And a willingness to acknowledge it wherever you find it, and to follow it wherever it leads you. Discovering this truth, though, is totally up to you. May truth be your religion, because that's the you in unity.